Executive coaching is an adventure, and it's an adventure with you in charge. Your coach works as your and it's a guy. When coaching works, it gets you out of your comfort zone. It challenges your assumptions, and so many of us, especially successful people, and it is invariably successful people who hire coaches, are pretty enamored over their own ideas. And so coaching is that way to get feedback from others and then focus on positive behavior change in order to become more effective in your role as a leader and your role as a manager. And it's principles, as Sharon knows far better than I do, based on cognitive behavior therapy. But it's not therapy, it's growth and development that will help you become more effective. It's chemistry. It's not unlike dating in a way, because it's who do you feel comfortable with? And there's many great coaches out there, but you have to select one that is most comfortable for you. As Sharon said initially, someone who understands where you want to be. Are you going to that next promotion? Are you seeking a more visible role? Are you seeking funding? Are you developing your team? You need a coach who understands the business and organizational structure that you're in, but also has a sense of behavior, so that how he or she can connect with you to get inside you, to help you use your own native skills and learn new things, new habits, to become more effective. So it's a part chemistry, part knowledge, part business acumen, kind of a whole ball of wax thrown into a mix. Well, the process is, I think it's pretty much all of us follow. I mean, Sharon overviewed it in a way. Our coach, and I think both of us agree with behavior-based coaching and performance-based, but the process that I use, and I think pretty much everyone does, is assessment, action planning, and evaluation. So assessment, as a colleague or a psychologist I know said, that can be as simple as a 5-minute conversation, and it can be. So it's an interview with the stakeholder, with your client, but it's also doing 360 feedback if warranted, and it's the best feedback there is. And also norm-referenced assessments as basic as MBTI, Myers-Briggs, Hogan. All of these are good instruments that help the client understand more about him or herself. And then we do what's the exciting part, which is action planning. And we use a little tool of what are your coaching goals? No more than 3 in this period or year. And something I learned from Marshall Goldsmith, who is a friend to both of us, is also for senior leaders in particular, pick a personal goal as one of those 3. And I know I always use myself as an example. What's my personal goal? Patience, because it's in short supply, but I'm working on it. And then, you action plan, and your goal will remain the same, but you delineate, what are my obstacles? What's holding me back from being a more effective communicator or a delegator or being more public or whatever your challenge is. And then let's talk about tactics that reinforce that. Little action steps. That's what Sharon talked about, prescription. I think coaching only works if it's specific. What are my to-dos? But we all respond differently to that. And this is, I think Sharon would reinforce this. If coaching is an amalgam of many things, one of which is teaching, but it's also observation and it's also listening. And that's where Sharon was so right to point out the reflective part. We as coaches have to reflect, but so too to challenge our clients to reflect, because if they don't, then they won't challenge themselves. And then after a period of time, 6 months, a year, whatever, it's an evaluation. If there's a supervisor involved, like for a CEO, it might be the board of directors or whatever. And you say, how am I doing? How has Patty changed? What behaviors have you seen? And as Sharon alluded to earlier, sometimes those changes are pretty evident pretty quickly, and which is always very positive because people see that individual is really working on it. And that's kind of the process of how it works. It's not rocket science. I mean, there's homework in the sense of we want you to practice what you do. There are reading assignments, sometimes journaling. Some of my clients like to journal, others don't. So it's flexible. That's kind of what it is. It's a very fair question, and it's a good one. I think the perception of coaching has changed significantly. Once upon a time, it was perceived as remedial. You have messed up, and so you're going to coaching as if you're going to stay after school and write, "I will not interfere with others" 100 times. Coaching is a developmental thing, and so many CEOs are bragging about their coaches as if they might brag about their private jet. So that's one thing. I would frame the coaching, and I'll Sharon have some perspective. I can be my best, and I think a coach can help me do X, Y, Z. And in doing so, I'll be the most effective for my team. And as much as coaching is, I always like to say coaching for my client, it's me time. It is your time, your investment in yourself. You're really doing it for the efficacy of your team, and it's an investment by your organization. So that's how I would frame it. Well, physician leaders are leaders. And very often, I know from, at least in academic medicine, they have direct reports and other things, but what most of them have is mentor relationships, which have nurtured them and they give back. I think using the term physician leader, whether you're in private healthcare or academic medicine, it's understanding that you are a leader, and you can, and as by accepting that role, you have management responsibilities and you have a commitment to your team. And part of it, I think, and when we get into the management part, you understand you didn't go to medical school to learn to be a manager. And so lots of folks that I've worked with who are physician leaders, I always encourage them to get help with the administrative and the management stuff, because that's not the best use of your time. But you must acknowledge that management is essential to it.